J face. So, yeah, right. Welcome to the Undrafted Hockey Fan Podcast. Us being freaking goobs over here. So, I'm Brad. I'm your host. I got Jason J Bird on here. Hey, Jason, how you doing, man?
Doing all right. How you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Our second recording of the day, so hope we're not too silly. So, so
Yeah.
if you haven't checked it out already, we just recorded the Central Division. So if you got a chance, we'll put that in the card or in the post. We should go check that out and hit like, subscribe, drop your favorite emoji. I'd appreciate that. And we're gonna jump into the Metropolitan rankings. Metropolitan, as the Steve Dangle podcast says, because to me, in my opinion, worst division of them all. To me, I mean, I think Atlantic is super stacked. Pacific's looking pretty good. I mean, Central's looking phenomenal, right? You know, you have some really high heavy hitters, but like Pacific even has some good hitters. You have like Vancouver and Oilers, and I'm just not really impressed with the Metropolitan. And I got a spicy take here later on the video, so I'm excited to tell you about it. So, but we're gonna jump into our 8th pick of the Metropolitan Metro. I'm gonna keep saying that, and it's gonna be so fucking annoying. Yeah, pretty much, dude. Right. So in 8th place we had Duke and Dunk. So in 8th place we had Columbus Blue Jackets with 66 points of last year. So in your opinion, Jay, who do you got in 8th?
They stay there.
Yeah, Columbus.
They stay there.
Yeah. So I mean, go ahead. You can start it out.
I as a matter of fact, on my notes, I wrote NA as not applicable. They did absolutely. Yeah. They didn't do anything to help themselves that I saw that was anything worth mentioning, in my opinion.
Well, and reasonably so. Let's be honest. You know, we can't get any past. So taking out the conversation continuing forward is Columbus is their focus is not hockey. It is healing. It is grieving. It is going through the process of losing Johnny Hockey. Johnny Gaudreau passed away. If you have not heard of a biking accident, a drunk driver hit him while him and his brother Matthew Gaudreau were biking out in New Jersey, out in their hometown, the day before his sister's wedding. And they both ended up passing away. Extremely tragic across the whole sports community. Named Johnny Hockey because Johnny football was very famous with the out in college.
Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel, right? You know, so like this kid. I mean, and by the way, Hobie Baker winner, which is the NCAA MVP. Was Johnny Hockey, you know, had a prolific career, hitting over 100 points in Calgary. And he was, you know, he grew up in New Jersey, but he was a Philadelphia Flyers fan. He wanted to get traded when he went to free agency. He wanted to sign with Philadelphia Flyers. They did not have the cap space. They were a poorly run organization at the time. Did not make space for him, even though he wanted to go there. But his goal was to be closer to home. Again, like we said, New Jersey and Calgary is very far from New Jersey. So and so him and his family looked at some of the options, and they looked at Columbus, who has a hard time attracting UFAs to come and play in Columbus. And when they chose, honestly, dude, I could cry thinking about it. There was actually a video that I ended up recording. I was bawling, dude. I was just like, it was tough. It really was like, because it was like he was so loved, he was so good, king. Right, like it was so tragic, and like it is, like I did, and so my heart goes out to them. Meredith, his wife, like who we found out, both Matthew and Johnny's wives are both pregnant right now, and dude, it is, and honestly, I am furious at, dude, if you need a ride home, fucking put a comment here. I'll send you the Uber money. Like, dude, like just choose. Don't do it. It's not worth it. And it's not about you. It's about everybody else that affects it, right? You know.
Yeah. So. You never hurt yourself.
Yeah. Right.
I'm guilty. I never hurt anybody else, but I've hurt myself.
Yeah. It's not worth it, dude. Right.
No.
So
it's not a good feeling after it happens either.
No.
It's just, you know, I mean,
you never walk away proud. You walk away like, phew, maybe I shouldn't have drove. Like you wake up the next day, you're like, oh, that was dumb, right? You never like, you're proud of it, right? So it's just we've all made mistakes, you know, like I said. So moving forward, the conversation is Columbus is in a healing process. It is to honor Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Gaudreau, and their main focus again is to continue to grow and they're, let's be honest, they're in a intention, they're in unintentionally bad team. They're trying to be better. Like they are. They have some guys like Owen Sillinger. They have Chinakov. They have like young good prospects. Gavin Brindley. They have, let's see who, Adam Fantilli. They have a lot of really good prospects. And they ended up signing Sean Monahan to come on to the team, who played with Johnny Hockey out in Calgary, 5 years, $5.5 million. Picked up veteran defenseman Jack Johnson. They re-signed Jack Greaves. They signed Kent Hughes to a bridge deal. They signed Kirill Marchenko to a bridge deal. Cole Sillinger to a bridge deal. Again, these guys are all in their, hey, we're starting to get better, trying to figure out whether they want to be here long term. Again, Columbus wants to keep these guys here long term, but again, this is a retooling, rebuilding. Figure out what you got, and those are some of the signings they made, and then also the big trade with Patrick Laine and a second round pick for Jordan Harris. And I thought Jordan Harris was a great pickup, and moving off of Patrick Laine, who needed a change of scenery. Let's all be honest here.
Yeah, seems like Laine always needs a little change of scenery, if you ask me.
Fucking hot take, right, dude? 6 minutes in the video, you're like, maybe he just doesn't like people.
It just seems to me like it's always been a kind of like, it's the Laine show, and I'm sorry, dude, but there's 10 guys easily ahead of you right now in the NHL.
Oh yeah, but especially for a second overall pick too, right? In the
he flamed out.
Yeah, well, and I know he's talked about he's gone to the NHLPA program for like depression and anxiety. So like I'll give you that a little bit, I will say Columbus is the Winnipeg of America. Like it's like where he originally, like Winnipeg drafts Laine. Like no one really wants to go to Winnipeg. No one really is like. No one's like, man, I can't wait to go to Columbus. Like you're like,
I've been waiting for.
Yeah, you're like, Omaha, like totally. Like, yeah. It's like it's not a desirable place, and so that's kind of where I'm like, I understand why Montreal's gonna be fun. Like I think, and go ahead.
But don't be ungrateful. You get to play in the NHL as well. There's a little bit to that.
Yeah, but you also like only have one career. Like it's like, and think about how many guys. I mean, look at who Jeff Skinner played in Carolina, gets traded, makes a bunch of money, and he's played over 1,000 games, never been to the playoffs, which is crazy. Like you only have one. And so like I kind of understand. I'm like you're getting paid all this money, like kind of have to perform, but also like I don't know, like you'll see it with the people who don't perform, they don't get paid, right? Or you get traded, or you so you do have to earn your way there. And I think he was on the goodwill for a while, and now I think the goodwill is kind of running out. And I think right now it's all about him bouncing back. Montreal wanted him. They traded for him. They took on the full contract. Like, hey, we want, and it's similar to what other teams done. Like we were just talking about in the last video. Like Laine is there to get his stuff together, figure out it, get 30 goals, 30 assists, put up 60 points, something like that. And then next year, after this year, he's done well. The following year, you trade him for picks. Like we'll have him in Monahan, right? We talked about this with Sean Monahan. Sean Monahan was traded from Calgary Flames with a first round pick to the Montreal Canadiens. They fixed him and they traded him off and got another first round pick. So like that's what the goal is with Laine is, hey, we get this player, get him into a hockey market where he is where Montreal doesn't have any sports besides hockey, and they put up as a god, and they're like, we love you, and he's like, oh, dude, I do love hockey again, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, like so, like think about this, like in St. Louis or was it Buffalo? Ryan O'Reilly talks about how he lost his heart for hockey, and then he went to St. Louis, and he was like, yeah, won the Stanley Cup and everything.
Well, losing sucks. Everyone hates losing. You can get the passion out of it. I understand.
Which is kind of what Winnipeg was when they drafted him, and then kind of what Columbus has been for the last several years. So you're kind of like down in the dump. So I kind of get that. Like you kind of get it a little bit, so
this much.
Yeah. We're not making millions of dollars. So it is hard to feel bad for millionaires who. Yeah.
You're living your dream. I mean, you did pick this profession. It's not like anybody, right? So, I mean, again, I get it. Like, I understand. I'm miserable at my job. I fucking hate my job. You know what I mean? So like I get it.
You just got it.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you just got it, dude.
Yeah,
so.
Unemployment's real fun. I hate this job.
Yeah, right. So, one other thing they traded Andrew Peak as well for Jacob Zaboral. I think he was the one. I was saying that he's one of those the top three. Yeah, he was. So if you don't know, Boston had 3 first-round picks in a row. It was like Jacob DeBrusque, Jake Zaboral, and like Zachary Shenikin or something like that, and they all flamed out. Three draft picks in a row, which is crazy. So he gets an opportunity in Columbus, which I think will be good for him. Traded out Jack Roslovic, traded out Alexander Texier. I got Victor Jordan Harris. Again, it's a rebuilding. I mean, we're talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets a little more than I anticipated. But again, it's all about the young kids, right? You know, you're going to have Kirill Marchenko is going to continue to grow. They signed James Van Riemsdyk, like great veteran leader who's going to help them be stable. Hey, guys, young kids, Fantilli, Chinakhov, Voronkov, Sillinger, Kent Johnson, focus. You know, guys who are
It'll come.
Veteran leader, yeah, right. Sean Corrali, like, yeah, dude, like there is like David Juracek, and I think they trade Provorov, Werenski's. I think your next captain after Jenner leaves, like, you know,
yeah.
I know, dude. I honestly would love for them to get for Red Wings to pick up Zach Werenski. By the way, I would love that. Also, I just want to make a note. The one thing I was laughing at with Jay and I were talking about in the start. Columbus has $24 million in cap space because Johnny Hockey's no longer being hit there. I'm sure he's being paid out the way it is in the NHL. But they have $24 million in cap space. That's like 2 Mitch Marners. And you still have $4 million to work with. Like, you know, right. Like, so I think this is a good, like, hey, trade out your guys that you don't want. Maybe Jenner wants to go to a contender. Maybe someone else, you know, take on a bad contract or two. Surprised Pierre-Luc Dubois. How funny with him, and if Pierre-Luc Dubois went back to Columbus, dude, that would have been very funny. He got traded there. And so yeah, right. You go from LA to Columbus, dude. So yeah, that's one. Like I said, they're in a different focus, right? So
yeah.
Moving on to the number 7. Who do you got? So 7th was New Jersey Devils. They had 81 points. Tough year. Dougie Hamilton goes down. Jack Hughes hurt a bunch, right? You had and Dougie Hamilton's your number 1 defenseman because Nemec and Luke Hughes have not come to up there. But Luke Hughes played very well for what he was asked for. But New Jersey Devils definitely struggled. Jason, who you got for your 7th pick?
Flyers,
and me as well. Yep, Flyers 7th place. So they finished 6th last year. But go on, talk to me a little bit. Why I got the Flyers there?
They signed Travis Konechny.
Good. Yep. Good.
Yeah. Good. You know, I think that was a good deal for them. Good for him. Good for them.
So, 8 years. 8.75 8 years, 8.75 million. So in my opinion, after Sean Couturier, once he calls it quits, I think Sean Couturier is going to be on the team for another till 2030, and Konechny goes till 33. But I think Couturier gets bought out at some point, and because he's got a no movement clause, but I think he eventually becomes captain. Konechny does.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, very much.
Yeah,
they sold. They also they moved a lot of picks this offseason. I saw.
Yeah.
I don't have it all written down, but I saw it and I was like, wow, this is a lot of activity going on. And they signed a long-term deal with a player that they really like, and a player that is actually I'd like a Konechny on my team.
Right? He was very highly sought after. I mean, because he was, mind you, last year at the trade deadline he was making $5.5 million last year. Now this year still he's making $5.5 million. So it's an extension of a guy who they're confident in. He's 27. I mean, Konechny is a tough player. He's like a better Bertuzzi to me. Like he's
a bigger, better. Yep.
Yeah, and it makes sense that he makes that 8.75 million, 0.9 points per game. He had 68 points in 76 games. He's a tough guy to play against. You know, like that. Almost like I said, I was a big fan of Konechny, and you got the thing is with. I think Flyers are also doing a really good job on their rebuild. talking about some of the things that they did at the trade deadline last year. They one bummer is Cutter Gauthier said he would not sign. He was their 5th overall pick. They ended up trading for Jamie Drysdale on a 2nd round pick. Obviously losing that trade, but Jamie Drysdale was a good 1st round pick. Not as good as Cutter, but you got a 2nd round pick as well. Kind of made the best of it they could. So they also traded out at the trade deadline Sean Walker for Ryan Johansson and a conditional 1st round pick. Side note: Ryan Johansson contract was like they basically are not going to pay him because he didn't pass certain. He he wanted to get a surgery at a certain time, and he went off on his own, did a surgery. So they're like, we're not paying your contract. So he's currently in a grievance filed. The NHLPA has filed a grievance against Philadelphia for that, which they'll end up settling, just like the Perry one. It's more the guys. I get the guys trying to make his money, but kind of rogue a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, when the team doctor tells you to go get surgery and then you don't, well, sorry, that's in your contract to listen to the doctor.
Well, he ended up. Well, they're like, no, we want you to play. Like, we don't want you to get the surgery yet. He's like, nah, like I'm gonna go get my surgery myself. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it was silly, man. So, they also played they were the 3rd team. Then Noah Hannafin picking up some money there. Picked up a prospect and a 5th round pick from the Vegas and Calgary Flames. They also traded for Eric Johnson. Get some leadership from the Buffalo Sabres. Again, they also moved down in the draft from the Wild. They traded one of their 1st round picks to the Oilers. They picked up a player, right? They moved up in the second round. They also moved up in the 4th round. You're right. They did a lot of trade.
Mm-hmm.
Trades in the draft. Again, of course, you have the big guy being Fedotov last year, who they ended up bringing in. They signed Luchenko. They got Bobby Brink as well. Like, they extended Hathaway, Michkov. I mean, of course, the Russian dynamo, right?
Yeah.
I mean, debatably better than Connor Bedard. That is the thought, is that he could be the one. Him, either Michkov or Celebrini will be taking home the Calder this year. It is going to be a good race, and I'm very excited for it. So, I agree. I think that Philadelphia they're just doing a retool, rebuild, and they're doing it. I think they're doing it well now. Finally, they were trying to go. They were mid for so long. It's like, no, just commit to the rebuild, and move on, right? So, going to the seventh in the division was the Philadelphia Flyers, 87 points. Sixth in the division was Philadelphia Flyers, 87 points. Right behind the Pittsburgh Penguins, who had 88 points, who were right behind the Washington Capitals, who had 91 points and 94 points. I mean, there's a lot of really close. I mean, honestly, Flyers were 6.5 points or 7 points away from the Islanders in the 3rd spot in the Metro, which is crazy to me. Like 94 points. So that means 3.5. That's 3 wins and an overtime loss. The Flyers could have been in 3rd place. So that this middle chunk of the Metro was very contentious. It could have been anybody. But again, you have the 6th spot. Their Flyers finished there. Jay, who do you have in the 6th spot?
I have the Capitals.
Okay, you think you're not confident in their moves? Then what you're saying?
No, I'm not confident. I think they caught fire hot last year at the end of the season. But other than that, I think they were very inconsistent. As I don't think they're I don't think they're a consistent team. I don't think they put it together for a whole year. They may have streaks and stuff, but I don't think they I think they regress. I don't think they make playoffs this year.
So I will disagree. I have the in 6th place. I have the Penguins and and I'll tell you why. Because for the Penguins, I'm not, like I told you, I'm not impressed. You re-signed Sidney Crosby 8.7 for 2 years. Great, awesome. You get Rutger McGrory. Great. A player who will play on this year. I think he'll make the team out of training camp. You get the other Sebastian Hauf, the defenseman. You get Matt Grzelcyk, fine. Blake Lizotte, fine. Anthony Villiers, fine. Matt Holloway, okay. Like, you get like Emil Bemstrom, you re-sign him, cool. Nedeljkovic, you extend him. Okay, like guys are not like you like. And the big thing was you traded away Jake Gensel, right? Like so to me, you traded away Jake Gensel, this guy who's a first line guy, and you don't really fill him in with anything else. And I just think that they're just the guys are getting a little too old for me on the Penguins. And if you look at their other trades, they pick up Cody Glass. Okay. Like, you move off of Riley Smith, which is nice. It's good. You pick up Kevin Hayes. Okay, cool. Like I'm honestly not that impressed. So you have your top line looks like Anthony Beauvillier, Crosby, Rust. Fine. Okay.
I like Tristan Jarry.
I like Jarry, but he's not. I mean, let's see. How well did he do last year? Because I think that's kind of one of my issues that I do like Jarry, and I like him for the price. I just don't think I think he's like a Georgiev. He had a 2.91 goals against and a 9.03 save percentage. So he was below average on all those. Mind you, he did play 51 games. So if maybe you lower him down like 45 games, take a little bit of workload off him, give a little bit more to Nedeljkovic, I think that he would play better.
And I think Nedeljkovic is a very good backup behind Jarry.
I agree. And Ned ended up playing 38 games last year, similar numbers, 2.97 goals against and a 9.02. Both below average, but the thing is
but not bottom of the league either.
Not bottom of the league. But the issue is that Penguins couldn't score. You trade for a guy last year, you get an Erik Karlsson, huge trade, right? And you couldn't score in the power play. And that's the most frustrating thing is you get a guy, you get power play 1, you get Letang, power play 2, you get Erik Karlsson.
Yeah, quarterbacks of their trade.
Dude, sign me up, dude. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where I think that they faltered there. I mean, do
you think they picked that up though? Do you think they worked that out?
They have. I don't think they will. I do because you trade Gensel, you get Bunting back. I do think Bunting ends up playing on the top line with Crosby. Again, so I'm just. I mean, and mind you, the one part I do like with the Erik Karlsson deals, you moved off of like Mike Hoffman, Jan Ruda, Mikael Granlund. Like you moved off a bunch of like bad contracts. It cost you a first round pick, but you got Erik Karlsson. But you didn't really need Erik Karlsson, so because you already have Letang, you know what I mean. So like I think that they can do better. I mean, there are pieces here, but I think to me the dam is leaking and you're just plugging holes. Whereas I think Washington was way more active. So I have Washington as my I have them as my 5th. I don't know. Do you have Washington at your 5th, or do you have something different?
I have Washington at 6.
Do you have Pens at 5th then?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're flipped there. So the reason I like Washington better is because they went out and they got guys. You have Washington who traded for Jacob Chikrin. Like him or not, they made a move, right? They moved out Nick Jensen in a 3rd, got Jacob Chikrin. They trade for Logan Thompson, get a good backup goalie, right? A good like 1A, 1B, right? They trade for Mangiapane, who was pushing like 35 goals a couple years ago. You did something. Pierre-Luc Dubois, they move off Dark Skepper. They didn't like him. Fine. Pick Pierre-Luc Dubois. Maybe it works. Hey, you know what's that meme? It's like, it didn't work for them. And it didn't work for them. But maybe it'll work for us.
Right, yeah.
I thought it was they have a lot of good young guys. I think they have they picked up Matt Roy for 6 years at $5.7 million. They re-signed Connor McMichael, Brandon Duhaime. They signed Taylor Radish. Russ Sandin, they gave him an extension. I'm not impressed. So to me, like when you look, I'm gonna go back to Pittsburgh real quick. You have Crosby, Malkin, Raquel, and Bunting. I'm like, okay, cool. You have Hayes, Eller, Glass. Like I'm not. Again, I don't find anything of the Pittsburgh Penguins inspiring. Whereas when I look at the Washington Capitals going to their stuff, I mean, actually, you have Ovechkin, Strome, Mangiapane. Okay, that's something. McMichael, young guy. Pierre Dubois, Tom Wilson. Okay, similar. LaPierre, Milano, like Protas played really well. Milano's looked really good. Nick Dowd was really big. Like people wanted Nick Dowd. Mind you, I know they barely made it. Let's be honest, they made the playoffs. Like they did. Yeah. They genuinely did. Then you have Chikrin, John Carlson, Fedivari, Waugh, Sandin, Ramsdyke. Like the goaltending, to me, I think Washington's a little bit better. They're in similar positions.
Yeah.
But I like that Washington is like, hey, to me, Pittsburgh is like, it's going down. We all know it. And we'll try it. We'll try and rely on the guys that we have. And you're just kind of like, to me, Washington's like, fucking come on, put some sandbags, try and stop this thing from flooding, right? You know, like they're like, and I think both are going to go through very, very hard rebuilds. I mean,
it's gonna suck for both.
It's gonna be so bad, and I'm just like, okay, but like to me, Caps are trying something, and that's kind of what I like the effort. I like the effort, right? You know, so that's kind of, and like they beat out Toronto wanted Matt Roy. And they Washington Capitals like, nope, we want him. 6 years you're committing to him, like, dude, like. So I don't know. Well, yeah, we'll see again. I think that I like the effort. I feel like I this is my opinion. No one told me this. I think when Kyle Dubas came into the Pittsburgh Penguins, he's like, listen, I think you need to rebuild. He's like, I can rebuild you. I can get you there. They're like, and management told him, if we have Sidney Crosby and he wants to stay here, you keep the team afloat. He's like, okay, I'll make a big move. He made the Erik Karlsson move. And he's like, I don't think it's going to work, but I'll try it. I'm going to make a big move for you guys. Big splash. It's going to look really good. And I'm going to do what I'm told, but I think it's not the right move. And he did it, and he kept Sidney Crosby, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, so.
But that's just the thing, right? You start getting up into these, 5 and 4 and 3. It just, you just start looking at, I don't know what to pick sometimes. And, sometimes I like this a little bit more than that, and
that's fine.
And, I do a lot of this on feeling too, not, necessarily based all in fact, a lot of this is very much opinionated.
No, I do. It's this is all opinionated, right? Like I'm just speaking louder and more. I'm passionately upset at the Penguins that they're not trying to rebuild, right? I'm like, if someone wants Malkin, take him. Like to me, someone's like, I actually there was talks about Brian Rust being traded to the Red Wings, which okay, like I would have liked it because I think he's a good veteran. I'd like him over Andrew Kopp, right? Any of those guys. Like, so to me, I think if you want to keep going with Sidney Crosby, great. Move up from Malkin. Maybe you keep Letang because he still produces. I don't know. I would have done things different. Again, I would have done things different in the Red Wings rebuild though. So we'll see.
I don't agree with everything Yzerman does. He's not God.
We've talked about this before. I think it's ownership wanting to make money. I think Yzerman would have been worse for longer. And I would have been okay with it because I think you would have higher draft picks, and you wouldn't have to sign like the Cops and the Halls and the Sherratts because you're trying to you're trying to get a little bit better. Like I think they would have been worse. I think they would have San Jose'd it and actually got the first overall pick and then finally came out of it freaking swinging. So, but anyways, we're not talking about the match. We're not talking about the Atlantic right now, but I can bitch it. But Give me on my soapbox, dude. I'm on my soapbox. So, all right, we're gonna do a quick break for ad reads, and then we'll jump right back into it. So, give me 1 second. We'll do this. So, all right, this show was brought to you by BetterHelp. Some people, they forget that life is about learning. Life is about learning different things, and most people stop learning because as adults we go to work. We come home, we eat dinner, we kiss our spouse, watch a little bit of TV, and then off to bed and do it all over again. And then weekends we just fill our time just trying to get to Monday. We look forward to Friday, but you don't do anything for the weekend. So as kids, they're always learning. They're always trying to figure out something. They want to try new sports. They want to try a new maybe learn an instrument, maybe a new language. And sometimes as adults, we lose that curiosity. And And sometimes you have to reflect on why it's happening. And what I've done is to help with me is I've gone to therapy where I'm like, hey, I'm missing something, right? Like I need to like maybe learn something like how to like set boundaries or maybe learn a new skill or like just like bring a little bit more excitement in your life, right? So if you want to, think about this, kids are going back to school. Like, what's your back to school era look like? What do you want? What are you going to go back and learn, right? And therapy can help with that. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/THPN today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/THPN. And also, the show is brought to you by DraftKings. NFL week is here, and a new season means new ways to get into the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking a player to score a touchdown. And my wife and I were just watching the Chiefs versus the LA Rams, and of course, think about this: can Patrick Mahomes throw? Who's going to throw to? Jason Kelce. Let's be honest. So, if you need someone to pick, I'm not giving betting advice, but Taylor Swift would tell you probably need to bet on Jason Kelce. This is not betting advice. I just want to let you know. So, and make sure maybe you get so good, maybe you win, maybe get ready for a touchdown dance of your own. So, score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium on us. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-gambler. In New York, call 877-HOPE-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit cpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boo Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible game resources, see dkng.co. FT Ball NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. NFL Plus Premium terms at NFL.com/terms. And we are back with Jason. And why is that not working? What are we doing here, guys? Oh, well, we're going with that one now. So, Jason, we are back. Maybe it goes back. Nope, it does not.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Well.
All right. Well, we are going with this one then. Going big.
Little technical difficulty, no problem. No big deal.
It's all right. It's all right. So, let's see it try again. Nope, doesn't work. All right, we're going with this one. That's fine. I'm sure the audio people are loving this. So, anyways, let's move on. We are doing the NHL Metropolitan rankings. So far, we have talked about 8th, 7th, 6th, and 5th. Jason, talk to me about who you got in your 4th position for the NHL. After I tell you that the Washington Capitals were 91 points, they had 40 wins, just beating same points as the Detroit Red Wings, but the difference was the Washington Capitals had more regulation wins, so they ended up making the playoffs, even though they had the same points as the Red Wings. And in my opinion, Red Wings would have at least won one game and fought a little harder against those Rangers. But I'm not bitter or anything.
Or the San Jose game.
Huh?
San Jose game.
Don't even get me started, dude. 6-5. You're up 5-5.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. All right, 4th position. So who do you got for
4th? I got Jersey in 4th.
Fuck you, you got Jersey.
Yeah, I got Jersey in 4th.
Okay, talk to me why you got Jersey.
I just think that there's the other 3 teams remaining are better than them.
Okay.
New Jersey, they got Stefan Nason. They signed for 3 years. I liked his play, always have.
Big fan.
He came from, he also a Carolina Hurricane?
Carolina Hurricane, yep. You're correct. Yep.
So I remember him a lot. He used to play with Natchez and such.
He did.
And they did very well together. I liked his play. He's kind of a dog. He's a scrappy one. He gets in there.
He is, absolutely.
And they did sign a good defenseman, Brendan Dillon, for 3 years. I think that's a good deal for both squads there for $4 million a year for 3 years. So but I don't know. I don't see them being better than the next three on my list. That's why I have them at number 4.
Well, so I respectfully disagree with you on that. So, well, let's talk about the New Jersey Devils real quick on some of the things that they did. Like you talked about Stefan Nason, going to a couple of things. They extended Dawson Mercer, $4 million per year for 3 years. Pick up Nolan Foote, Nico Dawes. Their AHL goalie. He's coming up. They signed Tom Starr, Brett Pesce for 6 years at 5.5. Brendan Dillon, good defenseman right there, 3 years, $4 million per. Like I said, Stefan Nason, $2.75 million per year for 3 years. Colin White's fine. Let's see. Those are, the offseason wasn't really a big, huge acquisitions again in the signings, but I think one thing, the key thing you are missing is they picked up a true number one goaltender in Jacob Markstrom, sending out Kevin Ball and a first-round pick to the Calgary Flames. Also moving off of John Marino because, hey, you signed Brett Pesce, right? You also signed Brendan Dillon, so you don't really need John Marino at this point. Move off of him.
Didn't they move off of Akira Schmid as well, right?
Akira Schmid, yeah. So who was ended up being their third goalie anyways. So because they were running Allen, Vanacek, and because they had Vanacek, and then they traded for Allen, and then they moved Vanacek to San Jose and picked up Kakinen, who signed with the Winnipeg Jets. But yeah, they moved Alexander Holtz, former fifth overall pick, and Akira Schmid for Paul Cotter on a third. Again, I think Alexander Holtz change of scenery. He needed it. Akira Schmid, I imagine he would not re-sign with them. I imagine because there's again no room. You have a veteran goaltender, Jake Allen. You have veteran goaltender Jacob Markstrom. I think Akira Schmid wanted an opportunity, and with Vegas signing Samsonov for 1 year, and then they have Aiden Hill for another year or two after this. Like Schmid's like, hey, I'm next, basically.
I want to play somewhere.
Yeah, well, and also mind you, like Nico Dawes played better than Akira Schmid, and he's their next, and he's the New Jersey Devils next goaltender. So like Akira Schmid again, it's similar to what we talked about with Askarov with Nashville. There wasn't a spot for him to be the next goalie. So I think it makes sense. And again, you move off of the clutter of Alexander Holtz, who has just struggled there. So I would disagree. And mind you, I think getting Dougie Hamilton is one of their offseason acquisitions, basically, right? Because you get him back, you have basically a number one defenseman in that sense. You have your top line looks like Timo Meier, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt. That's good. Tomas Tatar, Keisher, Mercer. That's good. I will say I think your bottom six isn't as great. Palat plays well, but I think they're looking to move him as well. I like Nason, like you said. He can't play center. And then Paul Cotter, big guy. Lazar, big guy. And Nathan Bastian, all big guys. But again, I think a lot more of your strength comes in your two top pairs when it comes to defensemen. You have Jonas Siegenthaler, Dougie Hamilton, Simon Nemec, and Brendan Dillon. And then, mind you, when Luke Hughes comes back, another guy there, you move Brendan Dillon down. And that's a great third pair. So
yeah,
I'm a little more confident in the young and upcoming New Jersey Devils. You'll be surprised where I have them. In my opinion, I have the New York Islanders as the fourth pick. So I get Islanders. What did you do? Like, you know what I mean? Like to me, like you signed Anthony Duclair.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like you re-signed Mike Riley. You signed Jesse Pulkkinen. Like, okay, Dennis Cholowski, Detroit Red Wings 2017 pick. You extend Oliver Wahlstrom. I'm less impressed with Islanders didn't even make trades. They made the only trade they made was in May for when the Chicago Blackhawks wanted to move up in the draft.
The culture of that team is identified, though. They know what they play and they know how they play it. And good luck scoring goals on them. They just don't give up easy goals. They block shots. They're just such a pain in the fucking ass to play against.
Yeah.
I just that's why I can see them up there is because it's so hard. They win 2-1. If you can score 3, you're gonna win.
Yeah.
But they win 2-1.
Well, and like I like their top line looks like Anthony Duclair. He's not a top line guy though to me. But Horvat Barzal, I like that. I like Brock Nelson. Palmieri's up there with Holmstrom. Anders Lee, JG Peugeot, Engvall's fine. Like you have Romanov, Dobson. Dobson is a number 1 defenseman. Probably will be in a Norris conversation,
which is absurd. Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I mean,
what he had 68 points last year.
I'll pull it up right now. He had something stupid where you're like, what are you like? Who are you? He's 24 years old, making $4 million a year. He's an RFA this year. 70 points in 79 games.
Yeah,
as a defenseman, dude. Like, which like who scores 70 points on the Islanders? Like,
right.
You know, like so there's
top 6 guys around the league not scoring 70 points.
Yeah. Who you Campbell Carr, dude? Like, yeah, right. I mean, like 70 points. Larkin didn't score 70 points. Larkin was a point per game player, but only played 69 games. Right. But like Lucas Raymond had 72 points, like which is crazy, and he was a top line guy, right? So, I think similar to what we were talking about with Winnipeg Jets. I think they're old. I don't think there's a direction. And similar to Pens too. I'm like, I just don't get what you're trying to do. Like you're so mid, it's not even funny. You're not trying to be a Stanley Cup contender. You're trying to make playoffs as like okay, if we make playoffs, we make money. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where.
Yeah, I get it, but that's what owners are all about, money. At the end of the day. Right, you said that before in a couple of scenarios where you think, ownership has maybe pushed people to make said deals because they want revenue now. They don't want to wait for building later. They want now. So.
Yes. Yeah, they want that short-term cash, whereas like I think building a Stanley Cup contender, a playoff Stanley Cup contender, and selling that place out like full blown is to me is better business long term. But I get it. So. Moving on to the third pick. So third in the rankings was last year was the New York Islanders with 94 points, with the Washington Capitals at 91 points right behind them. Third place, New York Islanders, 39 wins. 39 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I want to let you know that the Pittsburgh. Who'd you have in fourth? Jersey.
Yeah.
Jersey in 7th place had 38 wins.
Wildly competitive.
I will say you were not wrong. I think honestly they have the highest overtime losses. 16 overtime losses in the NHL was the Islanders. The second most was Boston, with 15. That's so crazy, dude. They won. They had 11 points more than New Jersey Devils in just overtime losses. That's so crazy.
Yeah, 11 losses. It still had 11 more points.
Again.
They don't give up, man. They're tight. They're tight knit. Islanders, man. You can't. They bang you hard every game, man.
Jeez. Yeah. So, anyways, third. Who do you got for third?
I have the Islanders staying at third.
Okay, so I have Carolina there. So I have Carolina. We kind of flushed out the Islanders. So what do you think Islanders because they have an identity? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think they're. Everybody knows what you're going to get when you show up and play the Islanders.
You're not wrong there. I mean, like that is definitely something that they have worked hard at, right? They've made that they have their identity. They're going to shut down. They're going to make blocks and everything.
They went from the worst defensive team to the best defensive team in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a culture shift if I've ever seen one.
Well, and I will say one of the big factors of the Islanders is Patrick Waugh, who plays a hard style game, and one of the best goalies to ever exist. Right.
That's right.
I think Hasek's the best, but I'm biased. So
6 Vezinas.
Dude, so stupid. I think he averages 9.3 save percentage in his career.
Yeah.
What are you doing, dude?
Lights out all the time.
All the time. So but Islanders when you have someone like Patrick Waugh, I think that he is definitely a factor for sure. So a couple things that they did in the offseason, the Carolina Hurricanes, they did pick up Jake Gensel and then end up trading him for a third round pick to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They moved out Dylan Coghlan. That's not one of their biggest signings. They re-signed Seth Jarvis to an 8-year contract. Did you hear about the deferment on his contract?
Yeah.
So he ends up coming out to 7.9, but like $400,000 per year is allocated to that ninth year.
Yeah, so, deferred.
Yeah. So the deferred payment. So they're only going to be spending 7.4 per year, which is smart, dude. So why you got him, pay him. Resign Martin Natchez, 6.5 for 2 years. Jack Drury, big fan of him. Like him, resign him. They resign Jacob Slavin. They pick up Jack Roslovic. Not a huge fan of him, but he's fine. He'll be good on the third line. Jacob Slavin, 8 years. Love him. A little below 6.4. Sean Walker, big fan, 5 years, 3.6. Great offensive defenseman. Shane Gostisbehere, we're very familiar with the Red Wings. 3 years, $3.2 million per year. Those are, I mean, mind you lose the thing is with Carolina, it's not about what you gain, it's what you lost. You lost Brett Pesce, you lost Brady Shea, so you end up moving out 2 guys that were pretty defensively responsible, and you pick up guys like Sean Walker and Shane Gostisbehere who are not defensively responsible, which is fine. But like I think I think they also realize that their biggest downside is getting points. I think scoring for them. I think scoring needed to come up, and I think picking up guys like that on the defense who can score, who can. I mean that is your PP1, PP2 guys right there. Your power play quarterbacks. You also, mind you, they also have Slavin's your defensive guy. You have Brent Burns. I guess he's also a power play guy, right? But he's kind of up there at this point. I think he is. Burns, I think he has only like 1 more year. Yeah, he's got 1 more year left. He's 39. So, and how many games did he play? I think he's on a. He played 82 games last year. Brent Burns, 39 years old, 82 games. Dude, 43 points, over a half a point per game player.
Right, that toothless smile, motherfucker.
Dude, I love Brent. I almost bought a Brent Burns jersey for $88 on the NHL site because it's a Sharks jersey.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, yeah, but Courtney and I ended up getting a Carlson jersey instead. I'm a huge Carlson fan. So again, you have Chatfield, Orloff. Which is fine. Chatfield's your defensive guy. I think you're not looking that great defensively, but I do like to pick up William Carrier as well, 6 years. I think their top 6 is really good.
I think their forwards play enough defense to where they could stretch the defense to be a little more offensive. Yeah, they're the number 1 puck pressuring, forechecking team in the National Hockey League.
That's it, right? That's what's huge. And you got guys like Freddie Anderson, who still plays really well, and your young guy Peter Kachekov. Coochie, as I like to call him. I think those are good pickups there too. Like, are good, like, stable goaltending. Again, I'm a little higher on Carolina in third, but I can understand why you're not there, right? Like I said, I could see it. So, in second, second place was 111 points, a 15-point jump from third to second from the Islanders and Canes was. The Carolina Hurricanes, 111 points. God, that's a lot of points. I mean, and then so I had them in. So in second place, who do you have in second place?
I have the Canes in second place.
Okay, I mean, fair enough. They played well last year, so that makes sense.
Yeah. You mentioned quite a bit of the trades and acquisitions just recently, which I agree with all those. One thing I do like to mention, just for shits and giggles, it's not really too much, but they signed Rod the Bod's son to a PTO.
Oh, did they? Oh, yeah, you're right, they did. Yeah. So that's a fun signing, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, and I'm sure Rod Brindamore is not giving them, cutting them any shit either, right?
No.
Brindamore is probably like, hey, fucker, you got to do it better than all them.
You got to work hard, right? Like, at least
harder.
Like, yeah, right. Well, maybe they signed the well. Actually, they don't have an AHL team. They used to have the AHL team. They don't have one anymore. So I don't know where he's going to go if they want to sign him. So
Right.
I'll be curious on that. So
yeah, does that mean like if they're asking for a PTO, does that mean like if they like him, they have to sign him? Is that like kind of the position they're put in?
Well, if they want to keep him, they have to sign him. But
Right. That's what I'm. Yeah.
Where do you send him? Like the ECHL, because that's not high enough competition for him to play. So you'd have to send him to like this. You have to send him to like Tampa Bay, Syracuse Crunch, or something like that, which is like right before Syracuse, which is crazy that Tampa Bay's AHL team is in New York.
Yeah, I know. Stupid.
Bonkers. Well, the Red Wings used to have the Syracuse Crunch as their AHL team.
Yeah, and then we decided that development is really key, and we're going to bring it over here instead.
yeah. Who was the guy that they kept sending down on down to the AHL? Was it Rafferty? It was someone that was coming. Yeah, they bring him up and they send him down, and they bring him up and send him down. It was like
it's just like
it was crazy.
Just to move pieces around, like strictly just a pawn on the board piece.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like cap space reasons or something like that. But it was like crazy. So I have New Jersey. So I'm very high on New Jersey.
Okay.
I think the young guys are only going to get better. I think Jack Hughes has 100 points again. I think you have guys like Heischer who hit 82 point per game players. I think Luke Hughes is going to take another step. I think you're going to Simon Nemeth going to take another step. Like, I think it's all up here. I think Carolina guys are probably going to take a little bit of a step, but overall, it's a lot of like the already established guys. Like, you know what you got in Gosper, you know what you got in Sean Walker. I think Carolina's going to be good. I got him third. I'm high on New Jersey right now. I'm a huge Jack Hughes fan, massive Jack Hughes fan. So I'm biased for sure. Like, So and I think the underrated. I think Markstrom's a better goalie than Anderson and Kochetkov. I think that. So yeah, I think that there's a lot more potential with New York or New Jersey, but I'm curious. I mean, we'll see. I mean, that's why we do these predictions, right? You know,
right? So, yeah, I just think, I don't know. New Jersey, it'll be surprising. I mean, I would like to see it because it's been quite a while since New Jersey's been good. It'd be nice to have them back in the mix again as a team that's talked about, right? Because I mean, they were, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, pretty badass fucking team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
They were winning Stanley Cups. They were smashing people's faces in. You didn't want to play them.
I mean, we played them from there.
Right. Yeah, we played them in '95. The Red Wings played them in '95 for the Cup, and we got swept 4-0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And we were favorite. We were supposed to win.
Yeah. Well, that's Brodeur syndrome right there, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a good. I think they're a good team. I think it'll be fun. I just like seeing young teams getting like exciting again. That's all. I think it's gonna be a ton of fun. So go on to the number one President's Trophy winner, the New York Rangers, 114 points in the Metropolitan. Jay, process of elimination. You also have the New York Rangers.
That's correct.
So talk to me a little bit about New York Rangers. Why are you so confident again? And do you think they can get the President's Trophy again?
No.
No. Okay. Just no. Okay.
No, they're not. I don't think they could be number one again. I mean, they have.
I mean, they beat Florida. They beat Oilers. So I want us to put that out there. But why don't you think they can get number one?
I don't think they're going to get it again. I think there's too many other variables. It's so lucky to be the number one team in the league. So many things have to fall correctly.
And,
health, good goaltending. You have to have your guys scoring at the right times, and you got to, I mean, it is so hard to consistently win in the NHL.
Oh yeah,
not just consecutively in years, but game to game. So I just statistically speaking, in the way the game is, I don't see it's so hard to be the best team in the league, let alone do it 2 years in a row. I think they're still like we have at number one in the division, and I won't get to where they are standing in the whole conference because we haven't covered one division yet. But the Rangers, you got firepower from everywhere. You got scoring from everywhere. You have a goaltender that can shred like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And you have great shot blocking guys as well. Again, I think shot blocking is a key to success in this new NHL, just because you get 80 attempts on your goalie every game. If you're not
Oh
careful,
yeah.
you're getting 60, 70, 80 attempts. And if you guys aren't blocking, 10 to 15 to 20 of those, I mean, your goalie's eating a lot of rubber, and then you can't stop that, because, goalie can only do so much. The puck is bang, bang, and it's off a stick, on a stick.
Yep.
And then, yeah, that's it. But I think Rangers are, you got your Kreiders, you got your Artemi, Mr. Bald Piece, bread man.
Right, cutting all his hair off. So
yeah.
Well, and a couple things they did. So they picked up Riley Smith in a trade from the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Okay.
Traded out a second and a fifth round pick. And one thing that he did talk about when he was with the Pittsburgh Penguins, who did trade for him from the Golden Knights, said he didn't really feel like he never clicked with the team. Mind you, this is a guy who felt like he didn't really click with the team, had 40 points in 76 games. Now, $5 million for that guy for 40 points, probably a little overpaid, right? But imagine, this guy the year prior with Vegas, 56 points, 78 games. That's a little bit more like it, right? You want that almost 60-point guy, and if the Rangers can do that, put him in position to succeed, I think that'd be huge for Riley Smith. Again, gets to a place where he's comfortable. He's traded for. He's a second round pick is nothing to sniff at, right?
Was he comfortable though, not winning, because he came from a winning team to a not a winning team, and now
could be right.
It could be just a little butthurt that you went from a good team to a shit team, and now you don't feel like you gel with that.
Well, and he's an original misfit, right? He's one of the original misfits, like Marcia Show, Carrier, and him, right? So. Probably bummed that he had to do that, and he was out in Vegas for 6 years. So I imagine he's upset about that. He's kind of bummed.
Yeah, I'm sure he feels a little betrayed, a little bit. I'm sure.
Yeah, of course. And then also you have they re-signed Rangers also re-signed Kakko for another year, give him $2.4 million. They pick up Sam Carrick, who played with the Oilers, who was traded to the Oilers last year. They pick up Chad Ruido, who they re-signed him. Who they had him. They extended Braden Schneider for 2 years. They extended Ryan Lindgren for another year. And they're kind of these are some bridge contracts to their young guys who are going to need some money soon. Mind you, they're going to have to sign Kakko next year, Alexis Lafreniere, Will Cooley, Matt Rempe. Who else? Ryan Lindgren, Keandre Miller. These are all guys that are going to need money. And so I think this is kind of one of those where the Rangers kind of have to go for it. I mean, you have Panarin for another 2 years. You have Zibanejad you got him for a while. But and you guys, Zibanejad for the next 4 years. Kreider for 3 years. So you have some time, but these guys are starting to get a little bit older. And I think I'm really interested to see what happens with the young guys. I think they're going to have to move off some of these guys. Again, Alexis Lafreniere, who started to really break out last year, he's going to command $8 million, I think. I think he will.
Yeah, he was a little slow to start, but he's showing a sign now.
Yeah, he ended at 57 points in 82 games. But yeah, he definitely started slow, but then once he started picking up, he really did. I think even in the playoffs, if I remember correctly, he played pretty well in the playoffs too. Let's go to his playoffs.
Yeah, I think he did.
So I'm pulling it up right now. 16 games, 14 points, 8 goals, 6 assists.
Lit it up pretty well.
Almost a point per game for a guy who's 22 years old, right? Same draft as and mind you, think about the guys in that draft class with him. You have Lafreniere, Byfield, Stützle, Raymond. Raymond just signed for a little over 8. Stützle's at 8.3. Byfield just got a 5-year, $6.5 million deal, and it's what's going to take him to UFA. So Lafreniere, he's gonna be asking for money as a first overall draft pick who's starting to really make his way. And I think this next year he's making 2.3. So I think that's something that he can propel off of. You're making a cheap contract right now, man. Really use this leverage right now that you have.
Yeah, this is your payday.
Well, and use this as you got me at a bargain.
Yeah.
Look at what I'm doing now. I'm only going to get better, right? And that's the idea around it. But they don't have much cap space to work with because they have to sign other guys, right? You have guys like an $11.6 million Panarin, and $8.5 million of Amjad, and 6.5 Kreider. The one guy who they did try to move off of, Jacob Trouba, making $8 million, right? You had 9.5.
That shit on us.
Dude, I mean, I honestly, I would have took it, but I wouldn't have paid for it, but I would have took it, right? Like imagine getting in a Trouba at half, and you set a second round pick back. Let's say just as like an example, because I'm not paying you a first round pick for Trouba, because to take someone off your so mind you,
right, to lighten your load. No,
yeah, well, and mind you, the previously when the Red Wings picked up Mark Stahl, a $5 million contract for 1 year. Stahl cost the Rangers a second round pick. So they sent a second round pick with Mark Stahl over to the Red Wings. If you want us Red Wings to take on $16 million Jake Trouba, you're sending a first round pick at least, right? Yeah. And probably him, no joke. I think you said a first or second round pick, plus we want Kakko. Like a guy who was drafted second round pick. He's still a project. He's not really, he's not like the best project, but he's like
not proven.
Yeah. Right. I mean, and like he's okay. He only had 19.61 games, but he's a second overall draft pick. There is you don't get picked second just because like right. It's similar to the Line. Like Line still plays well. He's still a 60-point guy. But like, and honestly, I think you know it'd be crazy if I would take Trouba 1-for-1 for Cop.
Oh, all day.
All day, right? All day, right? Oh, hey, Rangers, you guys traded for Cop at one point. You traded a first round pick to Winnipeg.
Right. You want him back?
Want him back? Right?
Yeah, we'll give him back.
Take Justin Hall, and I'll actually, mind you, I'll send you a second round pick. I'll send you a second round pick with Hall and Sherratt and Cop, and we'll take Trouba back. You know, like
yeah.
So I'm curious, but mind you, Jacob Trouba does have a before July 1st, he had a full no trade clause. Now he has a modified no trade clause, 15 team no trade list. So 15 teams is usually
usually the conference you're in you want out of, right?
Not necessarily. So what I've heard is if you have a 17 no trade clause, it's typically Canada. So 17 in there. You have a 10-team no trade clause. It's typically California plus Canada. 13 plus is typically, because 13 would be anywhere in New York. That's 3 teams. California has 3 teams. Canada's 7 teams. That's 13. But no one has a 13-team no trade clause. So they usually have 15 or 16-team no trade clause. So mind you, he signed this 6 years ago. So prior to there being 32 teams, right? So it's 15 trade, which is 30 teams at the time. So that's why it's 15. So
right, okay, yeah. So probably now it's 16 moving forward for most other.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
it is 16. Okay, yeah. So in this episode, so he can be traded to 15 other teams. So, but one thing he did do is because you submit it every year, and he did put Detroit on his no trade list so that he couldn't be traded because his wife has just this year left to finish her medical degree in New York. Because let's be real, these people are people and they have families. Again, similar to the way that Fleury didn't want to move out of Minnesota because he's like, my family's now established here. I don't want to. So he might not want to be traded. So that's why he has a no movement clause. Again, I have a hard time feeling bad for millionaires. Boo-hoo. Yeah. But again, it's one.
That's for them in the front office to work out, right?
Listen,
you know,
he earned and signed, and he got a modified no trade clause, and he's using it. And so
they agreed to it.
Ownership agreed to it, and if you're mad that you agreed to it, that's on you. That's on your fault. So
don't do that again.
Yep. Well, and that's what they're learning, honestly. So, all right. So we are going to wrap up. So, Jay, give me your 1 through 8 again in the Metropolitan, real quick. I can go first. You want me to go first?
Sure, you go first.
Okay, so I got New York Rangers, New Jersey Devils, Carolina Hurricanes in 3rd, Islanders 4th, Caps in 5th, Penguins in 6th, Philly in 7th, and Columbus in their beautiful rebuild, and RIP Johnny Gaudreau in 8th. So go ahead.
So to rip out my Metropolitan, I have the Rangers at number 1. I have the Hurricanes at number 2. I have the Islanders at number 3, and then I have Jersey at 4, Pittsburgh at 5, Washington at 6, Philly at 7, and Columbus at 8. Again, I will also reiterate, rest in peace to the Goodrow family.
Yep.
Terrible loss for the hockey community as well.
Absolutely. I forgot to tell my hot take. Based on if you agree with me or not, you have the New Jersey Devils missing the playoffs. I think you get 5 Atlantic teams this year and 3 Metropolitan. I think I have Rangers, New Jersey, and Carolina, and then Red Wings making in the 5th spot, or Red Wings or Ottawa making the 5th spot.
Okay.
I think the Atlantic's so good. I think Islanders miss. I think they're getting all juicy, getting all juicy. Yeah, I think Islanders aren't good enough to, based on what we talked about the points last time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Red Wings were 91 points. Red Wings got better in my opinion. So did the rest of the division though. So I mean Stammer's out of the division now, right? But out of the conference. But I think Islanders, I mean, you're seeing it's just a low point. Like there's points to be taken in other places. Like Ottawa picked up Allmark, they definitely have
Ottawa's going to be scary, I think.
I think Allmark's definitely going to help. So, but we'll see. I mean, we'll do the Atlantic Division sometime this week, and we'll fit it in and everything. So we'll be cranking these things out, and I'm excited. Like I'm nervous there's a real possibility that the Red Wings finish 7th in the division.
Yeah, I mean, possibility.
It is. If Buffalo gets their shit together and Ottawa, who's looking scary, can do it, like I think there's definitely a possibility. So
yeah, we also improved as well. So
they did. Yep, the Tarasenko. You re-sign Kane. You get a healthy Kane, right? I mean, Lucas Ramos took the step last year, but we will. But if you're curious in the Atlantic Division, catch us in the next video. We'll record that later this week. And hit like, subscribe, comment, whatever you got. Give me your favorite emoji and everything. And Jay, I'll talk to you next time, man. All right.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
We'll talk to you, brother. Take it easy.
See you. All right. Bye. Later.